ArenaNet prepares for the first Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns public beta weekend. Robocraft gets rid of all robot restrictions in the latest Unleashed expansion. Warframe launches the echoes of the Sentient update, and it looks like Hi-Rez is channeling its inner TF2. What's happening, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements of the week ending August 3rd, 2015. Starting off the news, happening today actually, is the 2015 International Dota 2 Championships with a massive prize pool of $18 million. And like I said, the tournament starts today, runs through Saturday, August 8th, and it's being live streamed across YouTube, Twitch, and Watch ESPN. Plus, as they've had in the past, newcomers get their own show once a day during the main event that features special commentary aimed at easing people into watching the game on a competitive basis. So, if you haven't done that before, that's the part you want to check out. This tournament has 16 teams that are competing for first place, which takes home just under $6.5 million in cash, while the last place team still takes home $54,000. Needless to say, I'd be happy with any place in a tournament like this. So I've been trying to steer away from talking about MOBAs in the recaps, but I felt like this massive event was definitely worth mentioning. Next up, KOG Games released new content on the North American servers of Elsword this past week to give players some truly tough new fights while increasing the level cap to 80. The new update has players venture further into the fiery lands of Lanix, discovering 2 new dungeons, Phantasmal Geyser and Volcanic Flame. Besides that, there are plenty of limited time events going on currently to reward you for getting back into the game, and they're also celebrating Raven's birthday. Kicking that off with a really nice new trailer that you see playing here. Pick up some more information about what's going on in Elsword, including a live stream replay of the new dungeons at the site post linked in the description below. And speaking of content updates, Skyforge has a massive update planned to launch on August 11th already, called Crucible of the Gods. The game's first major update is going to deliver high-level content to players, some of which we already saw in the closed beta tests. Things like unlocking the Divine Form, which will become available to players at about 30,500 prestige. Got a long ways to go to get to that. It gives players access to invasions, distortions, anomalies, and raids. Some of the most challenging battles in Skyforge come in the form of distortions. Using their specialized dedicated analyzer, Pantheons can mark spatial distortions on the tactical globe of the Divine Observatory, allowing a group of 10 players from a Pantheon to instantly teleport to the enemy's lair. Here, they'll go up against extremely powerful opponents, one after another, in an ancient arena. Victory here grants players epic weapons and other valuable trophies, but it also advances them towards the next stages of their character's divine form. And this is only one form of high-level content in Skyforge. Like I said, the new update brings in a variety of content to complete, ensuring there's always a different activity available. Keep building up that prestige, and look forward to the huge update landing on August 11th. Last week, Area Games released a developer overview video for Dragomon Hunter, which showcases some of the game's key features. In the video you see playing here, the developers talk about how defeating an enemy is one thing, but taming it is even more impressive. Everything that flies in the sky or crawls on the ground can be tamed and ridden as a mount, so it's almost like having your most valued trophies with you at all times to show off to other players in the game. That's kind of cool. There are over 100 different types of Dragomon throughout the world, and the most interesting mechanic so far is in order to defeat and capture them, you must have to first figure out a suitable weapon. So among the 4 classes that you can choose from, you can also select a variety of different weapon types, some of which are more effective against certain enemies, apparently. And then they talk about setting up appropriate traps to take on the tough Dragomon. It's still kind of early to get a good read on how the combat is set up in the game, but they do mention that they want it to feel visceral. So with that in mind, they focused on the visual feedback when striking an enemy, so that way you can really tell when you've hit something. Well, that's good. So the game still looks promising to me. Check out the developer video for yourself at the site post at MMOHuts.com and look forward to upcoming announcements. Beta is right around the corner already. Well, it looks like the time has come. ArenaNet announced last week the first publicly accessible beta for Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns will get a preview on the show floor at Gamescom, and then launch worldwide as the first official beta weekend event this coming August 7th through the 10th. In this first test, players will have a chance to experience the first story instances in the expansion's new area, the Heart of Maguma Jungle, as well as playtest the Revenant, which I expect everybody to do. Also, if you're in the beta test, and really all it takes is pre-ordering the expansion if you don't already have access, you'll be able to try out the new Elite specializations that introduce new weapons and skills for each profession in the game. And seeing that you'll be able to also test out the new Mastery system, ArenaNet is enabling players to save their progress during the first test to carry over to the future betas, which hopefully won't take too long to roll out. Other than this announcement, there's still plenty more to hear about coming from Gamescom, and you can keep up with all of the latest info on Guild Wars 2 at MMOHuts.com. Next up, it looks like Above and Beyond Technologies is already excited to showcase the Repopulation in its current state at PAX Prime, which is happening at the end of this month. The new alpha footage trailer here reflects some of the new features in the latest patch, 15.6.1, which includes the first part of the Entertainer revamp, complete with a music minigame. Facial tattoos are now being added in, new animations, improvements to the healing system, and combat continues to be refined with numerous small changes. You can easily see in the new trailer here the improvements on the combat and animations for sure. And seeing that the game is still in alpha, it really doesn't look half bad. And the crazy part is, what you see in the trailers is basically a small fraction of what the game is set out to provide. Next up, it looks like Robocraft has evolved even further, this time to the absolute extreme. The newest update from the indie developer FreeJam is called Robocraft Unleashed Freedom Engaged, indicating a new game-changing expansion that empowers players to have maximum freedom when it comes to building their robots. The Unleashed expansion includes a new map, a new player-level based progression system, enhanced battle and platoon matchmaking based on robot ranking, boss fights PvP mode, and additional improvements and enhancements to game balance and UI. But when they say maximum freedom, they really mean it. FreeJam went into action removing all of the restrictions and limits from the game and adding in its place maximum freedom, so you can basically build anything you want and throw it into the battle. No more tier CPU caps, no more tier minimum armor requirements, no more over-tier restrictions, in fact, no more tiers at all. Completely new matchmaking was put into place to keep it balanced, and it's based on robot ranking and player level alone. This also means that a new progression system was added in. Now new components are unlocked each time you gain a new player level. It's absolutely crazy how they can actually keep the game from feeling broken by lifting all of the tier-based limitations and restrictions and keeping it balanced via new matchmaking system. They definitely couldn't do that with a game like War Thunder or World of Tanks, that's for sure. Anyway, super cool update to say the least. Definitely want to hop in and insta-upgrade my robot to something a lot cooler now. And speaking of cool updates, Warframe's Echoes of the Sentient is finally here, featuring, among plenty of other things, a new Warframe known as Equinox. Equinox switches between day and night form to give allies different bonuses, whether it be damage and speed buffs during the day form, and shields and armor buffs in the night form. Each one of the Equinox's powers changes based on day and night form, and that was just one that I mentioned. With this new update, you can move through the solar system in an entirely new way with a completely overhauled and highly anticipated parkour system, like I talked about briefly in last week's recap. You now have cool movement mechanics such as double jump, bullet jump, wall latch, wall dash, aim gliding, and the ability to run across zip lines. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? Here we also see plenty of new Conclave add-ons like daily challenges, new Conclave maps with new tile sets. They've introduced some awesome new weapons like the Harpak, which is essentially a harpoon gun, or the Colstar, a handheld cluster rocket launcher. We also see new Kubro armor and a new type of Kubro trained to retrieve valuable resources for you, and now you can take the Arcwing to new depths, literally, in the oceans of Uranus. Yes, Uranus is so big it has oceans. Sorry, I had to make the joke. So much stuff in the new update for Warframe, it's crazy. Check out the new highlights trailer you see playing here to get a quick overview of what to expect. And finally, for our last bit of news, which was also officially announced today, Hi-Rez Studios officially revealed their new title we stumbled upon recently during a live stream charity event. The game is called Paladins, and it's a free-to-play action team-based shooter on the same lines as Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch. I suppose everyone is now trying to get a piece of that cake. In addition to the core shooter experience, Paladins also offers deep strategy and in-match character progression that is managed through decks of collectible cards that look nothing like Hearthstone. Well, I guess they do. So from the looks of things, a random select few cards get pulled from your custom-created deck to provide passives to you at certain points in your match progression, which is kind of cool, actually. Another unique aspect is the maps are large enough to justify a mount system. So just like in Heroes of the Storm, you can actually mount up to travel quicker to your next capture point or location, wherever you want to go. So far, everything looks really fun. IGN has quite a bit of exclusive gameplay matches with various characters, which offer unique playstyles, of course. The one you see here is Ruckus and Bolt. What we know so far is that it's slated to launch in 2016 on PC and consoles, and if they put as much into it as they have with Smite, it should be a good one. Anyway, guys, that's about it for all the major MMO news and announcements for this week. Pick up additional information about the news featured in the recap from the links in the description below, and find even more MMO news at MMOHuts.com. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below or head over to MMOHuts.com/forums. And until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.
For my skill. Enemies